I'm Allie with Allie's Boutique. Welcome to our channel and my confessions of being a hoarder. Not to make light of this subject, it really truly is an issue that I deal with on a regular basis in my office. So this is the reality of my current office situation. And while I have made many attempts to clean it up and organize it, for whatever reason, I just can't seem to get it together. So this is not the video that I had intended on doing today. I came to the realization that I'm a hoarder. I joke about it, but I'm a hoarder. My whole office is a disaster, and I can't even create. Like, it's just such a mess, and I just don't even know, and I can't even organize it so that I can be in here and be happy and create. I just get so overwhelmed. And so I was cleaning it out, and I had a completely different video to do for you today, and I just found this whole entire box of oyster shells that I had about 15 million projects that I had planned to do and pinned, and I had done a couple of them, but it's to the point now where I either do something with them or throw them away. The only thing I know to do is just to try to do some of these projects because it just kills me to throw them away. So I just started painting them. I started painting all the little edges gold, and to make to make the ring dishes that I made out of them in the past. And I'm going to use my IOD. This one is, let's see, yes, Seashells. And I'm going to use some of the little molds to put detail on these ring dishes. But anyway, forget the hand knit video today, and let's just make some ring dishes out of oyster shells, because I'm a hoarder. It's the truth. But forget cleaning today. Let's get started on this project. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just take a gold craft paint and go around the edges. And I'll usually do this for a lot of my oyster shells, but you'll see further in the video that I also like to use gold liquid leaf. Now, if you like this video, I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel, like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so that you can be notified whenever we release new videos. So I'm just going to go around all the edges and paint it gold. And I like it very organic, very irregular. I'm not trying to follow a crisp, clean line. I just want it to look natural and add that little bit of gold. So I did this on a lot of the oyster shells. But as I was painting the edges gold, I decided I'd like to embellish them and give them a little extra artistic appeal. And so as I was painting them, I'm thinking about what can I do to add something to these little oyster ring dishes. Even though they're beautiful as they are, I wanted to add a little extra. So I happen to have an IOD mold that has little bitty shells that would fit perfectly on these ring dishes. And I believe the mold is called Seashells. So I got my mold out and my air dry clay. I lightly dusted the molds that the shapes that I was going to use with some cornstarch. And I chose the smallest little shells and starfish because I thought they would fit the best on the oyster shell ring dish. So now I'm going to take my air dry clay and I'm going to press it into the mold.
And what I love about these IOD molds is you can see it has a little bitty edge around each shape that helps in smoothing and creating a nice defined outline of your shape. And it also helps in releasing the clay from the mold. And I'm going to take the shell and lightly shape it onto my oyster shell. You want to be careful that you don't push too hard. You don't want to lose much of the detail, but you do want to shape it to the actual shell. So now I'm going to do a starfish, and see how quick and easy this really is. I'm just pressing that clay into the mold, and I'm just taking off the excess and then gently pulling it out. And I'm laying it right where I want it. I'm shaping it around the oyster shell, and I'm going to let them sit there for just a minute and kind of get them all placed exactly where I want them. Now, just in case you don't have an IOD mold, I have an alternative solution for you. So keep watching till the end of this video so I can show you another option to create the little shell shapes. Now that I have all my little shapes, my little clay shells created, I'm going to glue them on the oyster shell. Now I'm using a rapid dry glue, and I'm gluing these little air dry clay shells onto my oyster shell while the clay is still wet. So I'm just gently taking them off, and I'm sorry that I kind of get out of the video screen, but you get the gist of it. I'm just applying the glue, and I'm putting the little shell right back onto the oyster shell where I had originally wanted it. And again, be very careful. You do want to make sure that you press it down well, but you don't want to lose the detail of the air dry that's in the air dry clay. Now this one was for a dear friend of mine, one of my very best friends, and I wanted to add a seahorse. So while the seahorse is a little large, I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and I kind of bent the tail a little bit so it would fit within the oyster shell. But this one turned out absolutely beautiful. Now you will see here I'm taking a little spatula and I'm cleaning any excess glue out from around the shells, and if I had any little bits of clay that needed to be reshaped or smoothed off, I use the spatula to do that. So now that I've got all the oyster shells, all the little air dry clay shells glued onto the oyster shells, and I've done a coat of gold paint. Now you'll see the different shades of gold. I'm using an antique gold and a bright gold of just plain acrylic craft paint. And what I like to do is I'll do a coat of the antique gold, and then I'll do a little dry brushing with the bright gold. Just give it some variation of gold color, and it just creates a really pretty look. And it's one of my favorites. So again, what I did is I put on this particular shell a coat of an antique gold acrylic paint, and now I'm going back in and just kind of lightly brushing it with a bright gold acrylic paint to give it that variation of gold color. Okay, now this one is the variations of the antique gold and the bright gold. And you can see how the antique gold's kind of in the creases and the bright gold is just brushed across the top. So here it is, liquid leaf. This stuff is so beautiful. And I believe I picked it up at Hobby Lobby, but you can order it on Amazon, and I will drop my affiliate link in the description of this video. But look at it. It looks like pure gold in a bottle. And so all you do is just paint it on, just exactly where you want it. It goes on so smoothly and is so beautiful. I think you'll absolutely love it. Now, one thing I will say is it is very stinky, so you may want to do it in a well-ventilated area, but it just really looks like pure gold. And like I said, it's one of my favorite ways to add gold to oyster shells. Now, I promised I'd show you an alternative to using the IOD molds, and here it is. So what you're going to do is just grab some small little shells. Now, if you don't have any, or you don't want to use ones that you found on your recent beach trip, a really great place to buy shells, surprisingly, is Home Goods. They'll have them a lot of times in the where the potpourri and candles are. So I'm just applying a little bit of the quick dry glue. I ended up having to put some actually on the oyster shell and on the little shells, and applied the shells to the larger oyster shell. And this is a quick dry glue, so it should dry and set up pretty quickly. I'm going to set it aside and let it dry. Once it's dried, I will just paint it with the gold paint or the liquid leaf, just like I did the air dry clay shells. So the very last thing I do once I have either applied gold paint or the liquid leaf is to take a sealer. I'm going to use a high gloss sealer from Dixie Belle that works really, really well for me. It is the clear coat in the gloss, and I absolutely love this product. So I am using that today. However, I am going to link a couple of other sealers that I have used and also like in the description of this video, just in case you want to try something different. Some people like to do a spray sealer, so I'm going to link one of my favorites of those, and then a couple other high gloss sealers that you might like to try. But today I'm using Dixie Belle's clear gloss or clear coat in gloss, and just doing a couple of coats, following the instructions in order to seal all of the color in, and also to bring out the beautiful natural colors of the oyster shell. And that's it. It's such an easy project. I hope that you will give it a try. As for me in my office, I have made some progress cleaning it out, and I'm just going to work hard at it, try to get it together so I can enjoy creating. I hope you enjoyed this video. It turned out so pretty. I thank you for watching, and go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our next video.